Then you moved on to Boom, Chicago, and
Boom,
Amsterdam.
Chicago and Amsterdam. I could never get an audition. I always wanted to,
Yeah.
but yeah. Let me see. There we go. That's, check. This is looking
I'm sure
good.
my flies button.
Oh, I'd let you know if your barn door was open. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Yeah. No, we got two good angles. Chuck, I'm gonna have you do one thing, and this will be for whomever edits this. Just give me a clap. Perfect. That way they can sync up the video
Sync
and
up the
everything.
video.
And in pure interviewer 101, I'll have you say and spell your name.
Singing? Sing it?
No, just say and spell your
Oh.
name.
Name is Chuck Berrington. Berrington.
Perfect. Chuck, let me start by saying I've been told a little bit about you, but just being in the room where we are, it speaks volumes about your life and about you as a person. Um, let's start at the very beginning. I want to know where were you born and where were you raised?
Okay, thank you very much. I was born in Sheffield Lake, Ohio, which is just west of Cleveland, and was raised in the little town of Amherst, Ohio, which is also west of Cleveland. And my father was in a steel mill guy, and he was always an entrepreneur, always had other jobs on the side. We raised goats, milk goats, sold goat's milk. Then he got into chickens. We had 1,000 chickens and batteries for broilers. Then he had about 2 acres of tomatoes. We cleaned and packed tomatoes, take them to market. And so Dad was always doing something to supplement his income. Hard worker, a lot of talent. I don't have that talent. That guy has my dad's talent. So,
What did your mother do?
my mother worked her whole life basically. She milked the goats. She helped pack the tomatoes. When my dad were selling chickens, my brother and I would stand on a chair, chicken in each hand, and a big oval boiling water, and my dad would build a chicken picker. So we throw the chicken to Dad, and he'd go, throw it in the stationary tub. My mom starts drawing him, getting it ready to market. So she's always been involved. And then she worked till she was 72 in the hobby shop. She's always worked all her life.
So, from your early beginnings, you were not adverse to hard work.
No, I grew up, my dad was always working hard and trying hard. And yes, yeah. So, in fact, my dad used to say about my brother, he was never afraid of work. He lay down right beside the weeding the patch. Yeah. You're never afraid, you just lay down beside it.
So, from Ohio and growing up, I assume you lived there for a while. Did you go to school there, or was there more?
I
moving
grew up
around?
in Amherst, Ohio, and Amherst High School, and was very active in high school as well. 3 varsity letters, track, football, and basketball. President Student Council, that kind of stuff. And so always very active. Then I went to Ohio University and got my degree in electrical engineering. And then after that, I went to work for the Westinghouse Corporation. Was with them for 37 years.
Now, knowing the location where we are in Forest Hills, I know there's
I know you. I heard.
Westinghouse is around here. Is that where you were working in the facilities here?
No, I traveled all over the Westinghouse. It seems I started on the graduate student program here in Wilkinsburg, and then I was part of the student program. You go to different divisions in the manufacturing arena or the marketing arena and see what you wanted to do, and I did that. And then I went to Sharon, PA, which was making all the transformers, pull type and power transformers, and that's where I started my career with Westinghouse. Yeah.
That's cool. Let me backtrack for just a second. Because you were talking a little bit about growing up, and I wanted to know what did you love about growing up where you did and when you did?
We talk about it often. I mean, the kids today didn't have, but we had a little town of community. We had the rec center, place for people to go and have fun. Town was very active, very supportive, and it was just a fun place to grow up. And my dad was always a leader in the community. And finally, he quit the steel mill, and he bought a building in Amherst, and he got a Westinghouse franchise, and he was a Westinghouse electrical appliance and gift shop. And I like to have a dime for every TV antenna I upped, because that was the days I was about a junior in high school. It was about the time the TVs were coming on board. And Christmas time, everyone bought a TV for Christmas. So go up in high roofs and snow and sleet and get it done. So, yeah, my dad always had to make us carry something.
What your parents, just in the little you've told me, they seem like very hardworking, very diligent people. What lessons did you really take away from them?
To work hard, I think, and also to be a good person. And I think that's one of the things I try to be, is just be a good person. And they worked very, very hard and provided well and raised great family, part of a great family. And so, I don't know, that's about it. They were just great parents. Great parents. Yep.
And brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I had a brother and a sister. They both passed. My nephew up there, Gary Allen, who you met, that's the son of my sister. And then I had two half brothers. My mom and my dad were all once married before, so I have two half brothers and a half sister, and those three have passed as well. But so I got the Berrington family, I got the Wyrick family, I got the Barr family over here, and I've got the Malay family, got the Sailing family, I've got the Silver Sneaker family, and great sons and daughters.
You strike me as somebody who has a lot of love for a lot of different things, and I'm just noticing, like, one, sailing, which you told me a little bit about, classic cars, which I'm seeing. So where did the love of sailing start?
You know, it's interesting. I grew up on Lake Erie, basically, and my father and my grandfather had a motorboat. It wasn't very big, but 27 foot, I think, a little cabin cruiser. And so I was on the water, but we always went fishing. When I got married and lived here in Pittsburgh, got transferred to Pittsburgh, we went to a little family camp in Myersdale, Deer Valley. Maybe you've heard of it, YMCA camp. And they had a small lake there with two fleets of sailboats, the Sunfish, a wet boat, and a Flying Junior, which was a 13-foot sloop. And I never knew how to sail. I took a sailing lesson there, papers on to take them out. At the end of the week, they had a sailboat race. I won both classes, and then I was hooked. And from there, the boats keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, So then after that, I bought a Laser, which is an Olympic wet boat currently, and then a little 13-foot sloop, and then a Catalina 25, then an Island Packet 31, then an Island Packet 35, which is, no, it's not over the 35, and then the Island Packet 40.
What do you? This is a ham-fisted question, so I apologize. And a lot of these questions will be, but when you think about sailing, what does it make you feel?
Adventuresome, challenging, I think. Looking forward to an experience and a goal. And I never went to a navigation school. I learned to navigate. That was the days before GPS, parallel rulers, compass, dividers on the chart. I had a little device, gave me latitude, longitude, that's all. And and I designed the interior of that boat before we left. And for everything, I had a radar on it, refrigerator, freezer, single sideband radio, so I could talk to England or Canada, and all the safety features one could think of. For example, I was concerned about hurricanes, getting caught in a hurricane, so I did a lot of reading and studying on that, and I decided that probably the best insurance I could buy was what's called a para-anchor. And it was almost like a parachute, with like 35 foot in diameter, and with 3/8 line, and you put it off the bow. So the boat's dragging backwards, the wind's blowing, but it keeps you steady and stern. You don't take a wave on the broadside.
Well, my next obvious question is, did you ever find yourself in a hurricane?
No, that's not true. That's not true. what's the name of the city, Mike? Oh, I'll get it. No, not St. Augustine, on the Florida West Coast, Sarasota. My earlier sale, about 31, I was working at the time, so I wanted to get the boat to Florida, put a charter manager down there. So I talked to some of my sailing friends, and every guy and gal took it partway down, and so on. And then we took clear across Florida, across the Okeechobee Waterway, I think it was, and then we sailed up to Sarasota, and that was the year a hurricane threw, and I weathered a hurricane at the dock at Jack's Marina in Sarasota. We tied it down, but Jack's Marina was so kind, he loaned me his pickup truck so I could go to West Marine and buy bigger bumpers and all that sort of thing. So I set the boat the sails, we tie her up at dock, and it was not a big deal. It was a small hurricane. I wasn't at sea, though.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Right.
Was there ever a moment when you were sailing, because, looking at your charts, you've sailed some incredible places. Was there ever a moment where the adventure maybe turned dangerous and you were worried?
I think we had one scary sail. We were, let me think of it, where we were. Oh yeah, we were coming back from Port La Cruz, going back to the States. And we come back on and so on. We went to Puerto Rico, and we were in Dominion Republic, and I talked to my sailing weatherman in Canada, and I said, you call him at 2:00 in the afternoon and say, Herb, this is a relationship. We're located at so and so. We want to go here, and he makes around all the boats at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The local weather was reasonable weather report. And so I talked to him on the radio. He said, Chuck, I would recommend you stay put. He said, we've got some cold fronts coming off the coast. It could be terrible, terrible things. And so I talked to the buddy boat that we were going to sail with, and local weather was okay. So it was 25 knots and maybe 8-foot seas, not bad. So we took off, and we got out there, and we ran into a mammoth wind and storm. And so I reefed the mainsail and doused the jenny, put the other sail up, the small one, and we sat I had an autopilot, and both Gina and I sat under the hood like this, and we were pooped twice from the back, waiting to come on board, and then we were pooped once from the side where the boat stopped and just shuddered. And I was concerned because we were going down waves at about 11 knots, and that's not good. You're on a wave 11 knots, you're on a pitch pole. So that was a scary time. That was the only real scary time. But we weathered it.
You weathered the storm.
Yeah, right.
So you were you had this love of sailing. You were working for Westinghouse, but when you were growing up, what did you want to be? What's your first memory of, like, I want to be fish?
I never wanted to be a sailor. I never thought of that. I didn't learn to be a sailor. That's why my sons to Deer Valley Camp, and they had the small little lake with small little boats, and I went to those classes and hooked me. And that's when it started. Then I bought the small boat, and they keep growing, even though they keep growing in the water. They keep growing.
Well, when you were a kid, did you think, I'm going to be maybe a firefighter, or the typical, the firefighter, the policeman?
No, I don't think I ever thought that way. I thought one of the things that influenced me to go my way in terms of electrical engineering, my father bought Westinghouse dealership, and he repaired a lot of stuff, and I helped him repair irons and so on, easy stuff. And Dad had an electrical store. I thought, I wanted to get an engineering degree. I was always good in math. So I decided to get an electrical engineering degree for that reason.
When did you start loving classical cars?
I always loved classical cars, but a friend of mine had a Model A in high school, and I just admired that car. We rode it a lot. So I told Jeannie, my wife, I said, I think I'd like to get a Model A. She says, what's a Model A? And I tried to describe it. We were driving home from Mike's house, actually, from Virginia, and there was a Model A sitting in the field with a Focero sign on it. So I walked up and had a little piece of paper, what they wanted for it, looked at it. And so I called Mike. My son Mike's a real car nut, car mechanic. He can do anything and does everything. I called Mike. I said, I got this Model A, Mike. What do you think it's worth? And he said to me, Dad, you want one to drive, or you want one to work on? I said, I want one to drive. So it was his friend, his lawyer friend in Virginia, that had this car here, that Roadster, green 1931 Roadster.
Mm.
And I bought that from him. And then, but that was not a good car for us because we like to travel. Not a good car for traveling. It has curtains. So when it rains, you pull them down and you die in there. And plus the fact, Gene loved jewelry. We didn't have enough room in the trunk to pack her jewelry. So, so I bought the 2-door, 4-door sedan, a car. It's out in the garage. You can look at it if you want. It's a 2-door sedan, Model A, 1931, all original. Except one thing, I changed some things on it. I changed it from a 6-volt system. No, that's not what I did. What did I do, Mike?
Transmission.
That's right. I put a synchronous transmission in from a 1955 Ford 150 or whatever. The bell housing fit on the transmission. So was a guy in California doing this kind of thing. So now I have a synchronous transmission in that car.
When you get behind the wheel of that car, how's it make you feel?
I love it. Everybody's honking and waving and so on, and it's just a fun. You sit on the gas station, you're swarmed with people asking, particularly black people, come up and say, "Tell me about this car," and it's a fun thing to share. And you're familiar with the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix? I participated in that for 20-some odd years before I even got my Model A, with patron parking, all that sort of thing. Love antique cars, and Michael worked there as well at the Grand Prix. So I went to the Pittsburgh Grand Prix this year. Yeah, I was invited to Shady Side when they clear Walnut Street for the car display. I'm the only Model A that's been invited over the years. And then I went to the show on that Saturday at the park. So that was only, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Yeah.
I covered it.
Oh, were you?
I was there.
I didn't see you.
We were by the where they have the Mini Coopers that you can go take a ride in for a lap. So we did a little kind of feature on them and just on the event as a whole. But that was my first time being at the Vintage Grand Prix.
Isn't that a neat event?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And they make a lot of good money for good reasons and good causes.
That's true.
That's true. So
that's very true. You what made you fall in love with Pittsburgh? Because you came to this area.
Westinghouse for me here.
But had you been? Did you know anything about the city?
No, not really. I come to love this city. It's a beautiful city. I became an avid Steeler fan. Had season tickets for 20 years, and then I met this lovely lady here, and I just love the city. Pittsburgh's just a nice city. I don't know how else to explain it. It's very comfortable here. So I've been here. I don't know how many years I've been here. A long, long time. I moved here, Mike, when you guys were small, big. But anyway.
62 years.
Yeah.
It's not bad. That's. Tell me a little bit about. You told me your first wife had passed. Tell me a little bit about her.
Well, first of all, let me just back up a minute. Jean, I'm going to talk about, was my second wife.
Second wife, okay.
Their mother was my first wife.
Oh,
my boy's
okay.
mother, and she's a great lady, so industrious, great homemaker, so bright. And she talks to me, I don't understand her half the time. But anyway, we just had to part ways for lots of reasons. But what was your question?
Well,
Jeannie.
Well, we can go in sequence. I thought there was only one, but there apparently two.
So she's a great lady, and Michael's caring for her in Virginia, and she's doing well at the moment, and that's super good. But Jeannie, I don't know how to describe Jean, other than she's an adventuresome lady. When there's a storm coming up on the ocean, she says, "Oh, look, a storm's coming up." I go, "Well, we got to batten down the hatch." "Oh, this is going to be exciting." She's that kind of way. She's a very, very athletic lady. She made the first string women's basketball team when she was in high school in Pittsburgh. And she worked at the YWCA, very, very caring person as well, and very, very bright and energetic, and just a great lady.
When you think of your family as a whole, and that's, all your relationships and all the different people, even the people I met upstairs, but when you think of your family as a whole, what are some of the feelings that come to mind?
Love. I might cry here. I'm trying not to. I got a great family. I got multiple families. My mother was married before, so I got the Wyrick family. Okay, I got the Berrington family. I got the Barr family, the David's family, the Malay family, the Silver Sneakers family,
Jeannie's, Jeannie's family.
and of course Jeannie's family. We're still connected and having parties together. So, in fact, her twin brother, Jean's twin brother, drove here the day before yesterday from Philadelphia to see me. We got a strong connection.
It's a beautiful connection. There's a lot of love, and you can feel it the minute you walk through the door. It seems like you've had a lot of love throughout your life.
I have. I have. I got two great sons. Yeah, and all the days I've been with them, great. She's super, this one over here. And we've been together now 7 years. And she's David's grandmother. No, that's not right. I'm teasing you.
Well, tell me a little bit about her.
Well, okay, let me back up a minute.
All right.
I mentioned to you that the Silver Sneaker activity was my family. And we were at the old Westinghouse facility in East Pittsburgh. It was a nice big gym there. I was in that gym for 17 years. And I became kind of one of the leaders of the social group and what have us set up the Christmas parties and the lunches and a lot of stuff. And so this one, we were in a room for exercising, and unbeknownst to me, she was exercising outside with the bells and all this other. So she decided to come into Silver Sneakers class. And so I'm kind of a social guy looking. So I see this beautiful woman come in the door, and she sits there in the corner, and I got up and welcome her aboard. No, you're sitting over here. And I put her over beside me, and I found out her husband passed 2 weeks before my wife. We had that in common. And so we've had a great life together for 7.5 years. We've been to Cancun 4 times, Williamsburg, California. She's got, what do you call it, sweetie? I can't think of it. Timeshares, and we just travel everywhere. Yeah, but I just drove to D.C. 3 weeks ago for a big Marine benefit. The Marine Corps had a demonstration at the big barracks with the marching bands, the drum corps, the passing of the rifles, and all that good stuff. So we're still very active. In fact, we're active in the Silver Sneaker Club. We go to dinner there once a month. Last Wednesday they had a dinner. We couldn't go, and they also had a prayer for me. 4 of them were over here yesterday to say hello. No, 5 actually. Yeah. So we're still active with that.
What? Tell me a little bit about your 2 sons. What makes them great?
To say about them.
Nothing good to say.
I'll wait till you tell the truth.
I have 2 great sons. They're different as night and day, but successful in their own right. My oldest son's a chiropractor, and he just retired from his business. He sold his business and then sold the 2-story building that he owned. His wife is head volleyball coach for many years. She was in Eastern Michigan when Charlie Batch was there. They know Charlie Batch very well, as an example, and she's still coaching. She's not going to retire for a while. She had a full scholarship for volleyball in University of South Carolina, and Chuck's a sports guy too. He likes to play volleyball, and they're both great golfers. She won the championship, he told me, for the club golfing, and the like. So he's very active in his business. He's a hunter. He just drove in from North Dakota last night, I think it was. He was dove hunting, I think, right? Dove hunting. He's a ball smoker. He's got one of those dogs he's had trained where you do the hand signal, you do everything. And so he's a dog lover, does that sort of thing. This guy here, I don't know where to start with him. No one could have a better son. He went to college, and like both of them did, and so on, and then he got several good jobs. I went with this company called Hollister. Am I saying that right, Mike? Hollister? In Virginia. And he was he moved up through the system, what have you, they sent him everywhere to order and seek delivery of very complicated machines for the process making of their business. And he's been everywhere in the world. And he retired here a couple of years ago, but they're still contracting him. They want him all the time. He's been very successful. They want a big project ahead it is him. He goes to corporate headquarters in Chicago, makes a report, and stands up in front of the board of directors, and he's so successful. But the beauty about him, he can do anything, literally. He's a motorcycle guy, got me into motorcycles. When he was, I don't know, 10, maybe 11, 12, I was transferred to Stanton, Virginia, as marketing manager of air conditioning division at Westinghouse. And they were still home in Pittsburgh. And I come home this one time, he says, Dad, my neighbor here's got a little mini bike he wants to sell. I said, well, Mike, I don't think so. And Mike said, oh, no, it's all in pieces, Dad, it's all in pieces. I said, okay, I'll go look at it. It was a wheel here, a fender there, all in a box. And so he bought it for $10 or something like that. And so I come home about 2 weeks later, he's got the thing half assembled. And his mom drive him up to the Honda dealer up here, ask him about the overhead valves and so on to put them in right. And then he rebuilt that motorcycle and rode it. Since then, he rides Enduros. I rode Enduros too, in motorcycle with him. He first started Enduros on 1974, 74 Suzuki. And I used to be his crew. So we go to these Enduros, which Enduros are through the woods and the water and out on the highway. And I'd be out on the highway, he comes through, I'd throw a sandwich in his mouth, oil the chain, get going. So I did that for, I don't know, maybe a year or two. And I said, wait a minute, I'm going to do this too. So I bought a Suzuki 185, and we used to, in Virginia, we used to repair those bikes ready for the Enduros. They have to go underwater, they have to snorkel so they breathe, the snorkel tubes coming up, seal them up and so on. He and I worked on it together, we used to practice together. Then we used to ride Enduros together. I bought a pickup truck with a pop-up camper in the back. We traveled to Ohio, to Pennsylvania, all these various events, and rode Enduros. And he is a great rider. And not only that, he has 25 motorcycles now. It's restored. They're all beautiful. And in fact, we went to, you probably don't know this guy, John Penton was quite a motorcycle man who, he was known for his dirt bikes way back when. And he worked with KTM. And he was honored by the National Society of Motorcycle. Am I saying that right? Yeah. National Society. So he went to that event. Michael took this restored Penton motorcycle, the 175 Jack Pine, and that's what he rode. And they wanted him to keep it there because it was so beautiful. But he's got 25 motorcycles and probably more hanging in the barn he's got to work on yet. And so every place he goes, he buys motorcycles. He just got back from the vintage motorcycle event at Mid-Ohio Racetrack. He goes every year. And so he's very handy. Not only that, he completely redesigned his house. Tore out the fireplace and put a sample of the fireplace on the floor in the garage, cut stone to fit in all the places, then took it in and put it in. And it really did change the master beam in the house. He can do anything, this guy.
When you think about your sons, are they pretty much your most proud legacy?
No question. My family. And pick these two guys. Yeah.
Don't forget Christy.
Oh, thank you. Also, my stepdaughter Christy from Jeannie. She was here last week for 4 or 5 days. And Christy and Jeff. Christy is the one that went through improv in the Boone, Chicago. And they moved to University of Michigan area because their daughter's at the Blue College. And so she's doing improv now currently in that area, in Detroit as well. No, she's a great lady, great lady. And my granddaughter's unbelievable. I think she gets her smarts from me. No, she's doing 5 languages. She speaks Japanese. She's working on Chinese, Spanish, French. She went to Martinique last summer and taught for a whole month little kids with French, speaks French all the time. Now she's working on Chinese and a Spanish dialect she named, I don't even know. She's also a beautiful singer, and she's in the theater too. So, great family, all sides.
It seems to me you have a ton to be proud of.
I do.
What's one thing about you personally that you think this is, other than family, because we've established that, but you would like to be remembered for?
Being a good person, I think, it's the biggest one. and also being a leader. No matter what I got into, I kind of took charge and liked to lead. Like I got two great families that sail. They're into sailing, and one just got back from Europe, and I got them into sailing, taught them sailing, and so on. So I always like to get involved and have a leadership role. I like to lead things. I'm stingy, I don't know, but anyway, I think I was probably just trying to be a good person, sharing and being a leader. And
what's one or two life lessons that you have learned that you'd like to impart to family, to friends, to anybody who may watch this in the future?
my famous phrase, and she'll verify, let's do it. Whatever, let's do it. I think maybe that's a simple way of saying it, but that's me. No matter what, let's do it. And I think that's certainly one. And do challenging things and do what you want to do and live your life. But be good, be a good person. Right.
What is I wrote down a couple of like rapid fire things. So what's one thing that when I say I love, or if you were to say you love, what's one thing that crops to mind that immediately? What do you love?
Life.
What's one thing that irritates you?
That's a good question. Not much. I got some regrets. Okay. I can't think of any one thing that irritates me. I think that irritates me. I see people on the street begging, "You get a job. There's plenty of work out." That irritates me a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything that really irritates me. She doesn't.
You said you have a few regrets. So it's kind of.
I'll tell you one regret I have. I don't know if
Sure.
it's a regret or not. I don't know how to frame it. This will sound selfish. Do you remember the Nixon price control days? When they put base prices on product, you could raise your price more. Price control days. Well, they tapped me on the shoulder at corporate. Hey, Chuck, I'd like you to come in. You're going to report to the corporate vice president of marketing. I'd like you to handle this price control stuff, which I knew nothing about. And I said, "Oh, I think I drew the short straw here." But that was an interesting assignment. So, to give you a little background, the price commission sends out instructions how to do things, how to set your base price, so on. But the example they always use is like a drugstore. How many dollars worth of toothpaste did you use? Let's count back 2 years, 10% of that volume, that's your base price. But how do you apply that to nuclear energy? How do you apply that to contracting? You know, all that stuff. And so I had a committee, member from each big arm of the corporation, plus a lawyer, that would interpret those rules in the spirit of what they meant and try to comply. And then finally we flew down to Washington many times and negotiated, and we got what was called back in those days a TLP, Term Limiting Pricing Agreement, which is a corporate. We had to bring stuff in some way and measure it somehow, and that's a detail I don't remember. But anyway, after I've done that, I got a nod from the marketing manager and the chairman of the board of Westinghouse. We'd like to send you to Harvard. And anybody that goes to Harvard from Westinghouse, they do this. And so I was 2 weeks to go to Harvard. And John Mars, who was the president here not too long ago, he called me in his office. "Chuck, I want you to go down to Stanton, Virginia as the marketing manager of the Commercial Industrial Air Conditioning Division." I said, "John, thank you so much for the offer, but I'm off to go to Harvard." He said, "Chuck, you'll learn more down there than you will at Harvard." And that's just in the back in the day. Well, if you refuse that kind of thing, you're put on a shelf. And I just regretted that I didn't have that opportunity. That's the only regret I have to think. Yeah. It was just one of those things. It was situational. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Frank Sinatra song, regrets. I have a few, then again, maybe too few to mention.
Right. Yeah, that's great. I don't know of any regrets I have. Riding a motorcycle with this guy, modeling, sailing. Yeah. We had a great life. Great life.
You had a motorcycle too, cross country, you and Jeannie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that piece. We went to a Model A national event in Yorktown. With our Model A's, we drove to Yorktown. And one of the side tours that the National had was to the Harley factory and thereabouts. And so we went, Gene and I went through the whole factory with the tour. We got to the end of the tour and they had a big, beautiful room, showroom with every motorcycle that Harley makes. And Jeannie says to me, we got to get one of these. I said, what do you mean, Gene? We're too old for motorcycles. No, we got to get one. So I said, okay, well, let's try it. So I got home. I went to Gatto's, I think it was, out there, who sold both the Harley and the Honda. And I first rode the Harley, then I rode the Honda, back and forth about 4 or 5 times. And even though the Honda is a neater motorcycle, 6 cylinders, quiet, has reverse, all that stuff. There's nothing like the potato side of a Harley. So that's what we bought. And so she rode behind me for a while. We rode to Lake Champlain, to a national. We rode with the motorcycles everywhere. And then finally said, I don't want to ride behind you anymore. I want my own. So I bought her a small Suzuki, taught her to ride here in the churchyards. And then she took the lesson, got her license. Then she said, I want a bigger motorcycle. So I got a Yamaha 650, I think it was. And then she said, I want a Harley. I bought her a full-size Harley. Heritage Southfield, beautiful bike. I had to lower it 2 inches in the back so she'd get her feet on the ground. But we rode to Sturgis, Newfoundland, Canada, Vermont, New Hampshire, Virginia. We rode all over. Her and I had a radio on mine, and I put a radio on her so I could talk to her. I was going down the street, and one of our neighbors stopped us, and he says, what's this microphone on your bike? I said, if I can talk to my wife. He said, what do you want to do that? He's a funny guy.
Well, that kind of leads me into one of my questions that I was wondering. You've been so many places. What's one place that you really loved going to, and or maybe one place that really surprised you? You didn't think it was going to be very much, and then you got there and you're like, oh, this is great.
That's an excellent question. But it's difficult for me to answer because there's so many different frames of reference. There was a sailing frame. All the travel we did together, we went to Cancun 4 or 5 times in the last couple of years. And I think one of the first time to Cancun with her was just a beautiful thing. And we really enjoyed it in the sun and the friendship down there. So each activity has one of those kind of moments, so difficult to sort one out. I don't know that I can.
Was there any place you were like, it's on my list, but I haven't gotten there?
That's a good question. In my business, I travel all over the United States. So I've been the chairman negotiating with Mitsubishi, and so I travel like he's traveling all over. I travel a lot of places. Oh, that's another regret I have. I never took time when I traveled to wherever on business to take a weekend and see something. I was always faithful guy to go back to work. I can't think of anything. No, I can't. We just have fun wherever we go. We make it happen.
Well, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. That's what she tells me. Let's just do it.
If you're stranded on a desert island, you can only have one meal until you're rescued. What's that one meal?
Chicken Marcello. Chicken Marcello. I know that.
From any place in particular?
Yeah, Johnny's down here in Wilmerding. You ever been to his restaurant, Johnny's? Go down there. It's a great restaurant.
I'm gonna try it now.
No, it's a great restaurant. Yeah, that's the right answer, I think.
Yeah. What do you have? I always hate to ask, like, do you have a favorite song, because there's so many, but like favorite music or genre, or 1 or 2 songs that you really love?
Yeah, that's a hard one for me. I like the big band sound, kind of a thing. I was a drummer too, so I like the drum corps, those kinds of things. I can't think of one song. No, nothing pops in my head that way. I think of orchestras. I like the big sound and so on.
If you had to sit down and watch a movie, and one that you anytime it's on, you will sit and watch it, what would that movie be?
Yellowstone.
Oh, the TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say this part. My family was kind of a horse family too. My brother George, he went to Michigan State, learned farrieing, make horseshoes and correcting winging on a horse and show horses. And then all his daughters were show people. In fact, his youngest daughter, Lori, got so good she was not only showing horses, but she was training horses. In fact, if you see on Yellowstone, when the horses do a 360 real fast and gallop and come to a stop, that's called reining. And she goes to Texas and shows and judges those kinds of things. So we always had horses, and my dad, he got into it too. Our neighbor had a walking horse. You know what a walking horse is?
Hmm?
Ones that walk, no.
Like the ones from Tennessee, the Tennessee
Yeah,
walking
exactly.
horses.
That's
Yep.
the one. They got the rear leg overlaps the front paw, and so he went with his friend and down to wherever it was, Kentucky, bought this King of Spades, beautiful black horse. He called me. I was in college at the time. He called me, Chuck, they don't have any hay down here. Load up that trailer with hay. Come bring it down here. We're gonna pick up this horse. So that's how it kind of got started. Then I rode in with my brother in a couple of little rodeos, the pickup races. We got a picture of that in one of the things where he'd be down at the other end of the grandstand. I'm here on time. I would gallop down, make a 360 pick, and he grabbed the horn and bolt on the back. Yeah, we did it.
You're quite the adventurer.
Yeah. Oh, nothing I'm proud of. This is a brag, but it's all right.
Go for it.
I was the only senior in high school who won 3 varsity letters: basketball, football, and track. I was first team all those.
Which, as someone who also lettered in a few
Oh,
sports,
yeah.
What was your favorite?
I was more of a basketball player. That was my favorite. And football, we went both ways back in the day. So I played offensive end, or wide receivers are called. And on defense, I played the corner. Yeah.
I used to play both ways as well.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. If you're out on your boat, do you prefer sunrises or sunsets?
No, that's an interesting question. I admire them both. And I remember the first time that Jeannie went on the boat with me, and I showed her the sunrise. And the next morning, Jeannie, get up, look at the sun. She says, it looked like yesterday? I said, yeah, good night.
So maybe a sunset type of guy.
Right.
If your family is watching this years and years from now, maybe grandkids or great grandkids you've never met, what's one or two things that you want them to do, to emulate, to remember?
Yeah, that's a very difficult question. I want them to be a good people, good person, do the right thing, make the right decisions, but do something, be active, and have some adventure, something, do things, and just be good. I don't know what else I could say. That's what I want them to be, and have some good thoughts about me once in a while.
You seem to love getting out there, just doing it. And to me, it seems like a lot of your life is about that adventure. And maybe there's some fear, but from everything I've heard, it doesn't sound like you were ever afraid jumping into
some
things.
apprehension. I'm getting ready to take this boat across 12 days and nights to Tortola. I got some apprehension being out in the rough seas. Whatever they throw at you, you got to be there. But not a fear, but an apprehension. And the key was prepare. I did all the research on I said, the pair anchor, and also if you got the wind the other way, and I got the drogue for the stern. So just be prepared. That's the key. And what you do, I think, in that regard. So.
Kind of one of my final questions to you is, what the last couple of years, what has just been the joy for you?
Helene. She's been so good. And it's so important to me and my family. Michael and Deb are the greatest, and Chuck's good too, but he's further away. He doesn't get home as often. This guy, he's here all the time when he needs to be. I'd love to go to his home and see all his motorcycles and all the things he's done. He's just a great guy. Yep. If everybody could be like Mike, would be all right.
What as you're on the back nine here, and you're heading into the clubhouse.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in.
Right. Well, what are you hoping for whatever time you have left?
Oh, I told these guys I have two goals: no burden on anyone and no pain. I said, Mike, when I'm close, pull the plug. But I said, get a second opinion first. No, my head's in a good place. My head's in a good place with it. I feel good in myself. My head's in a good place, and I knew this was coming. Been fighting this thing for about almost 2 years, and so after I had the last exam, and I knew it was going to be bad, so I had known myself before I went in for it. I knew I wasn't going to continue. So they said, "Here's some options for you." I said, "No, no more options. I suffered enough from those side effects. Horrible." So I'm good. I'm good.
You strike me as another great Western Pennsylvanian, Jimmy Stewart. And
I think I'm a little more handsome now.
well, I was just going to say, in his iconic role of George Bailey, and It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
And I know he used to famously say, "Mine has been a wonderful life." Do you think that is true of you?
Oh, no question. No question. Look at all these memories around the wall. And I'm most proud of that. Never took a navigation lesson in my life. There was no GPS back in those days. I had a little device on my boat that gave you latitude and longitude. So I sailed all those islands all the way down to Venezuela with a device to give you latitude and longitude, parallel rules and charts, paper charts. So that's my... I'm really proud of that, and that was probably such a great accomplishment for me. Yep. Yep.
Doesn't get much better than that.
No, I don't think it is. Great family, great Bauer family, the Kirkland family. As I said, I got about 6, 7 different families, and they're all so supportive. Yep.
Chuck, anything else you want to add?
I want to thank you for coming out and doing this. And I'm so overwhelmed when David called me. I said, "You gotta be kidding, David." He said, No, I want you to do it. So I want to thank you and David for making this happen. So I hope some of it gets on the tape and not on the cutting room floor. But anyway, I was going to ask you, I know you kind of sever these kinds of things into a broadcast at night, a short interview of people, kind of things. Is that where it comes generally? These kinds of things?
Typically, yeah. I David asked me to do this more for the family, and
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't have to be on TV. That's where I was going, because even though you might edit some, I like to have the whole thing on some 10 DVDs or something. So I give one of each to my families.
I think the idea is have just a nice sit down conversation with you that the family can have and they can revisit.
Excellent.
Well, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you and your time. You've been excellent. Great interviewer. Asked tough questions, but great, just great.
I appreciate that. Whenever I talk to somebody, first thing I tell them is, all my questions are going to be open ended and leading.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a gotcha question, probably not the interviewer.
No. Yeah, and David warned me that it's going to be a conversational kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it has been. It's been delightful. In fact, for you to stimulate me thinking about things that I haven't thought about, that's great. So thank you for your professionalism.
You're most welcome.
And if it's going to be for the family, you want to talk about Colton, Nikki, Emma? You haven't mentioned them yet?
Oh, honey, that's
Yes,
just
I know you got so much going on. But
my grandchildren. Yeah. I have 3 grandchildren, right? Colton, your son, and Nikki, and Kelsey, Chuck's daughter, and they're all successful as well. And I have a great granddaughter from his daughter, and we got one on the way. Thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. That's just so much. I can't remember it all.
Well, you have a big family.
I have a big family. That's true. That's true.
Well, my whole family, we're this big extended Italian family. So if you were to ask me to reminisce about half of them, I'd be like, oh, I forgot about.
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, we have family in Arnold. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you coming out. It was fun.
Yeah.
Good.
You guys feel okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I do want to get some things for the family. So I don't know how you do it, DVD or whatever you do that.
Probably just digitally. We can.
Okay, digitally. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can handle digitally.
I'm gonna
Distribute it.
press pause here. That's a solid 50 minutes.